Guys, let's get into some bowl game predictions. Ohio State plays Missouri in their Cotton Bowl, and Missouri is currently favored by 2.5. Though Ohio State is the higher ranked team, though Ohio State, you would think, is the better overall program, at least historically. Recently, they've been the better program, but Missouri, they've kind of had an up and up year. Really had some good wide receiver play. Their defense was a little bit better. Not the best defense they've ever had, but a little bit better than what they've had. And their quarterback was a nice shine to this team and able to help them out a lot. Eli Drinkowitz seems to have this team rolling well, and everybody seems to think Ohio State's in trouble with how many transfers they're losing and those things, and losing your starting quarterback, losing one of your top 3 receivers on the team, probably not having Marvin Harrison Jr., some other opt-outs there as well. I don't know how much Vegas is taking that into account, but Brant, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on this Ohio State and Missouri game?
Yeah, I understand why the line is the way it is right now, just because Marvin Harrison's probably not going to play, and McCord's obviously gone. A lot of people leaving Ohio State right now, and more expected to probably opt out. Meanwhile, Missouri, a lot of their better players are underclassmen, so they'll all be playing. And this is kind of their Super Bowl per se, a chance to knock off Ohio State. You don't get that all the time, especially. I mean, they play in the SEC, they get to play like Georgia and all those big teams. But to play a team like Ohio State in the postseason is going to be a big thing, a big deal for them. But that being said, if you're a betting man and you see that plus odds for Ohio State in a bowl game, I don't know why you're not taking it. Because in every single bowl game that Ohio State has played in since the inception of the CFP that wasn't a playoff game, Ohio State has won handily. You got 2015, they played Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl, crushed them. 2017, USC, 24-7 win in the Cotton Bowl. 2018, beat Washington in the Rose Bowl. And 2021 wasn't as much of a blowout. It was actually more of a comeback against Utah. But again, that's another win. 4-0 in playoff games in the CFE era that are not, in bowl games that are not playoff games. Also on the flip side, you've got a lot of guys surprisingly saying they're actually playing in the game rather than opting out already. Denzel Burke is playing. Jack Sawyer is playing. Emeka Egbuka is playing. Tyleik Williams is playing. Donovan Jackson's playing. That's a lot of guys that I thought would probably opt out. So it seems like the guys are all still kind of banded together for this game. I don't think Ohio State's going to struggle.
Yeah, the guys right now that I have that are out are obviously Kyle McCord, Julian Fleming. I don't think we're going to see Marvin Harrison Jr., even though he's talked about coming back. I feel like it's kind of like a CJ Stroud situation last year where it's just kind of like bait.
Yeah.
um, Tommy Eichenberg, I think normally he would play, but if his arm is still injured, he did not look good in the Michigan game. Just couldn't look like he couldn't tackle and some of those things. So I'm not sure if he'll play. Obviously, second string running back Chip Trainum, he will not be playing. But the 2 guys that I have question about are JT Tuimoloau, Travion Henderson, and of course the third guy, Emeka Egbuka, to see if those guys are going to play. Because those guys, 2 of them are on offense, and those would be huge for Devin Brown to be able to throw to and to have the run game with. And another one in JT, he was the one that got a lot of pressures this season and was really able to put pressure on the quarterback, even though Ohio State wasn't able to get those sacks. So interesting for them to see what they can do in that situation. Connor, you have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, I was mad impressed with what I saw from Coach Strength this year in Missouri. The last few years when I look at Missouri and how they fared in the SEC, I thought they were kind of one of the joke of the teams, respectfully. But it turns out, finishing inside the top 10 is no easy feat. So this is a game that I think is a little bit of a trap for Ohio State. I know that we've talked about some of those guys already sitting out, but I was mad impressed with what I saw from a guy like Corey Schrader, I think is his name. I mean, I think he might have been the best running back in football this year. So I think Ohio State's in for a little more than they know. However, like Brant was saying, they've definitely, as underdogs or, as favorites even, have just kind of taken care of business in bowl games. So it is hard to bet against them. I am still impressed with Missouri, though. I got the Buckeyes winning, though, probably by a score or 2.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing right now with the way that bowl games are, I feel like the team that's motivated has the upper hand by a lot. And if you would have asked me a week ago who is the more motivated team, I would have said Missouri. Like you said, Brant, this is their Super Bowl. This is, kind of like as high as they're gonna get. I don't think they're gonna be a playoff team anytime soon. However, they did just finish ninth, and we're gonna get to the 12-team playoffs. So maybe with that, they'll be able to sneak in there every now and then. But at least for right now, for these seniors, this is their Super Bowl. And the only guy I can think of, and the only guy when I was looking stuff up that might opt out is Corey Schrader. Just because he is a running back, he does have a future, so it's possible. That's not been confirmed. So I don't even want to say that, take it into account when I do my prediction. But it is one of those situations where we could possibly see him opting out. And if he does, that's a huge blow to Missouri because, like you said, Connor, he's been very, very good this season and a huge part of why they've had success. Brant, do you have any score predictions for this one?
Yeah, I think Missouri is a great team, like you guys mentioned. Finishing top 10 is not easy. Their offense was really clicking. Luther Burden, a menace. He's going to be tough to guard. And Mookie Cooper might get a little revenge game going. OSU transfer that's playing out there. Their second leading receiver, I believe. But that being said, I still think Ohio State probably wins by maybe 10. Let's go 24-14.
That's about what I got. I have 27-17, but I really mean no disrespect with that because I could see a situation where Missouri wins as well on this one because they are starting Devin Brown. And as much as I'm high on Devin Brown, and I think Devin Brown could be very good, the passing game is going to be a huge part in this one. Missouri is, I think, 12th in turnover margin nationally, and Ohio State doesn't get a lot of turnovers. So if you see Devin Brown get down and start having a bad drive or two or something like that, he could throw a pick, he could fumble it, something like that could happen, and that could cause trouble for Ohio State because, as we know, off of turnovers, teams have been able to score on Ohio State's defense, and that's been kind of their Achilles heel throughout the season is turning it over and scoring on them there. So definitely an interesting situation to think about, and we'll definitely have to see how the game plays out because I'm with you, Brant. When I see that negative for another team or see that plus next to Ohio State, I'm like, I think I know what I'm going to bet there just in case. Thanks for listening to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.